Hello and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today and celebrating International Day of Happiness Part 2. I am Brittany Bong and I'll be your MC for today. This event is organized by the Divisions of Positive Psychology of the Persatuan Psikologi Malaysia (SIMA), and we collaborate with the School of Social Science, USM. The divisions aims to promote the development of positive psychology in Malaysia and eradicate misconception. Here's the link to our Facebook page and website. Do follow us for more information on the upcoming events and activities, and you can also register with us as a member. So before we start, I would like to mention the rules throughout the event to ensure the event goes smoothly. First, we would like to ask everyone's cooperation here to always mute your mic and turn off your camera during the sharing sessions later. But we'll be having a Q&A session at the end of the event, so you can unmute and turn on your camera to ask questions. The second is to be polite in the meeting or Facebook chat. However, if you have any questions or inquiries, feel free to drop them. So today's event will be a conversations on the World Happiness Report 2022. We are very lucky today because we have invited the brightest panelists with us to share their insights on the World Happiness Report. Let's invite them to introduce themselves. The first panelist we have is Professor Dr. Deborah Hall. Hello, Doctor.
Hi, sorry, I'm just trying to start my video.
No worries.
Hello, everybody. My name's Deborah and I work at Heriot-Watt University. I'm head of psychology and I was appointed as Malaysia's first professor of positive psychology, and I'm delighted to be invited to speak to you today.
Thank you so much. And the second panelist, we have Professor Dr. Intan Hashimah.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Intan Hashimah, and I'm a lecturer and a researcher in positive psychology with University Science of Malaysia. I personally think that well-being and happiness are key and essential aspects of human's life, and I love to be devoting myself in this area, and I'm so happy to be here, and I hope that you will have a good time today.
Nice, thank you so much. And the final panelist we have is Dr. Chee Seng.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. This is Chee Seng here. I'm an associate professor at University Tunku Abdul Rahman under the Department of Psychology and Counseling. At the same time, I'm also the head of the divisions of positive psychology, one of the divisions under the Malaysian Psychological Association. So I'm glad to be here. Right, thank you, Brittany.
Thank you so much. And there we have it. So without further ado, I'll pass the rest of the session to Dr. Chee Seng.
Okay, thank you, Brittany. All right, so welcome, ladies and gentlemen. So as you know, today we are going to have a conversations on the World Happiness Report 2022. Okay, so before we go further, okay, to get some insight from the experts, okay, so let me briefly explain about the report. Now, first of all, the World Happiness Report is prepared by a group of independent experts and published by the United Nations Sustainable Development Solution Network. The first World Happiness Report was presented on 2nd April 2012. So this year is actually the 10th anniversary of the World Happiness Report. Now, the World Happiness Report consists of articles and, of course, the National Happiness Ranking to offer insights into the development of human happiness. The reports are available online. Okay, so you can refer to the chat box or the Facebook post for the link and download a copy of the report. Now, for your information, the World Happiness Reports are primarily based on data from the Gallup World Poll. So I believe the measurement method will be of interest to all of us. So now I would like to invite Professor Hall, okay, to help us understand the measurement used in the report.
Thank you.
Yeah, so please, Professor Hall.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Dr. Chee Seng. So let me just share my slide at the moment. And I do have a little Mentimeter poll. I put the link in the chat in Zoom, but I'm not sure whether everybody is watching Zoom. So maybe one of the team can also paste the link into Facebook in case anybody is watching there.
Sure, we will do that.
Great. So let me just find my slide. Okay, so Dr. Chee Seng gave a little brief introduction to the history of the report. And this measures happiness across different countries. And given that it's been going for 10 years, it's an opportunity to look at trends over time, changes in nations' happiness, and primarily each year the report sort of rank orders countries by their level of happiness. And I think currently Finland holds the #1 spot as the world's happiest country. Now, I'm just going to spend a few moments explaining what is the measure of happiness so that you can understand the report a little bit better and also maybe understand the context of my two colleagues' presentations who are going to follow me. So the main measure of happiness in the report is this thing called life evaluations, and more on that in a moment. But the report also measures positive emotions and negative emotions. So let's have a look at those in a little bit more detail. So life evaluations first, what is that? That's the main measure. And the participants completing the report are invited to think about quality of life as if it was a ladder. If you're at the top of the ladder, then you're living the best possible life, and that scores 10. If you're at the bottom of the ladder, then that is if your life represents the worst possible imaginable life you could envisage for yourself, and that scores a 0. So we get very few people who are scoring either a 0 or a 10. Most people are somewhere in the middle, somewhere on one of these rungs in the middle of the ladder. But this is the ladder scale that the report uses. Oh, there you can see the ladder. So let me just ask you a question. And the question is, if you think about life satisfaction and happiness, what kind of contributors would be meaningful to you? And the first question for you it's a multiple choice question. So there are a number of options, and I'd like you just to be able to think of 2 of those options that for you contribute the most to your overall level of happiness. So I'll just give you a few moments to open up that survey and respond, and I'll try and change my screen so that we can just have a quick look at the results as they come in. Let's just change my screen share. So hopefully you can see that it's a little bit small, but we've got 5 votes at the end for balance and harmony. We've got 3 votes for social support and 2 votes for freedom to make life choices. The other options are income, healthy life expectancy at birth, generosity, which is if you give to charities, and also perceptions of corruption at either a government or a business level. And you can see the scores changing as they come in, but just to kind of highlight, I think still in front is balance and harmony. Most of the people in the meeting today are voting for that one at the end, and we've also got 4 votes have come in for freedom to make life choices. So those are the sort of 2 winners at the moment, with social support close behind. So let me just switch back to my presentation slides. So just to kind of reflect on the survey, the ladder measure actually assesses the first 6 response options that were in that survey. So things like social support, things like financial security, health, those sort of things. At the moment, the Global Happiness Report does not measure balance and harmony, and we're going to talk more about that in a little while. There are 2 other questions that are asked in the report, and those are positive feelings and negative feelings. And here's the question that's asked. So for positive feelings, people are asked, in the previous day, did you experience laughter, enjoyment, or learning something interesting, or doing something interesting? And the negative feelings question asks, in the previous day, did you experience worry, sadness, and anger? Now, these are not exactly measuring the same things as life satisfaction, but understandably, they are somewhat interrelated. Now, positive and negative feelings, one can imagine on a sort of balance scale. If we have more positive feelings, then we would be feeling happy or happier. If we had more negative feelings, then we would be feeling less happy and less satisfied in life. So happiness can generally be defined as feeling positive emotions and not feeling negative emotions. Now, because the report measures positive and negative feelings and life satisfaction, the authors of the report have done a little bit of analysis. And what they've shown is that an increase in positive feelings is contributed by 3 main factors, and I've highlighted them in bold in the box. So social support, having people to support around you, freedom to make life choices, and generosity all increase our positive feelings. And financial income, health, and perceptions of corruption are not really related to how happy we feel. Conversely, negative feelings are reduced by those things that I've put in bold. So negative feelings are reduced by having social support around us, having freedom to make life choices, and unlike the positive feelings, fewer perceptions of corruption. So interestingly, money and health don't predict positive or negative feelings. And social support and freedom to make choices are very important for both. Now, what psychologists have found is that the existence of positive feelings matters to us much more than the absence of negative feelings. So those three positive emotions are very, very strong predictors of overall happiness, and maybe perceptions of corruption, which are reducing on negative emotions, contribute a little bit less to those overall feelings of life satisfaction. So I'm just going to try and switch to the second poll now, if I can. No, yeah. So I'm just going to turn to invite you to think about where Malaysia might sit in those rankings of happiness. So just a quick poll. There are 4 countries that I've given you an option for, countries around us. And I would, just for fun, just have a go at ranking those countries. So remember, those countries asked inhabitants if they could imagine that ladder and say how far up the ladder you think you feel in terms of your overall happiness. So I'll just try and switch over. And so these are the poll results so far. So we've got Singapore in top position, Malaysia, then Indonesia, and then the Philippines. So you're right. The Singapore was in 27th place out of 146 countries, which is perhaps unsurprising. Maybe a little bit more surprising was the Philippines was in 2nd place, closely followed by Thailand. So Philippines and Thailand had 60 and 61st place. Malaysia came next. We are the 70th happiest country in the world out of the 146, and Indonesia was somewhere down towards the bottom at 87. So congratulations to those who got that right. So my final slide, take-home messages from my short presentation. The report tells us that money isn't the key to a happy life. We've seen that overall happiness is determined by around 6 different factors. We've learned that the positive feelings matter much more than the absence of negative feelings in terms of determining how happy we feel. And it's, because those positive feelings matter more, do try and cultivate more positive emotions for a more satisfying life. And a little tongue-in-cheek comment at the end, or move to Singapore, which is the 27th happiest country in the world. And that's all from me. Thanks.
Hi, Professor Hall. Would you mind to show the last slide again, because the last slide wasn't shown just now?
Oh, was it not? Sorry. Can you see it now?
Yes, we can see it now.
Yeah. So those are my take-home messages. Positive emotions. If we can cultivate those, then hopefully we'll feel a little bit happier. Okay.
All right. Thank
to the next speaker. Thank you for your attention, everybody.
Thank you, Professor Hall. Okay, for giving us some insight about the measurements that used in the report, and also the interactive activities. So now we are going to hear from Professor Intan Hashimah about the factors for our happiness. Professor Intan, please.
Thank you, Dr. Tan. Okay, I will focus more the discussion. Okay, can you see my slide now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I will focus more on the relationship aspects of the World Happiness Report. And I want to highlight a few things. I want to highlight about the importance of social support, generosity, benevolence, and trust. And I want to talk about the report from that perspective. Okay, so let's see. Okay, all right. Just now, I think Prof. Hall mentioned about how 6 variables were identified as key to contribute, key variables or factors that explain about life evaluations. I think she mentioned just now about GDP, about social support, about freedom to make life choices, about healthy life expectancy, generosity, and perceptions of corruption. And here I share here with you the importance of these key variables for Malaysia. So for Malaysia, GDP explained the most of the life evaluations, and second comes social support, third is freedom to make life choices, and fourth is healthy life expectancy, fifth is generosity, and sixth is the perceptions of corruption. But I want to focus on the 2 relationship aspects that two relationship aspects that are important here, and this is of course based on my own personal interest, because I also do a lot of research on relationship, especially positive relationships. So my curiosity or my interest is based on this perspective, but I also think that these are very, very important, and they are very, very important for us Malaysian, and that's why I want to highlight these two factors or variables. And indeed this has been found, this has been reported in the recent World Happiness Report. And I just want to mention a little bit about the measurement. Just now, Prof. Hall mentioned about the measurement of happiness, but I want to focus or highlight a little bit about how social support was measured in the report. So it was really based on one question. The question is, if you were in trouble, do you have relatives or friends you can count on to help you whenever you need them or not? So either you answer yes or no. So this is the item or the measurement for social support, and generosity is measured on whether or not people have been donating to charity in the past month. So you can see social support here is measured by the perceptions of support, whether or not people think they have support, and the generosity is measured by the behavior of charity. And they are they are used to represent measurement of social support and generosity, and they are found to be important and to be are able to explain the variance in life evaluation. Okay, all right, okay. So they are important, social support and donation. And the other thing, the other highlights from the report that I found interesting is the increase in benevolence. So there is a global upsurge in 2021 across all global region, a large increase in the proportion of people who give money to charity, who help strangers, and who do voluntary work. If you have been doing this in the last 2021, in last year, so you are one of these people. You contributed to this proportion, to the large increase of the proportion. And some, they are double in terms of magnitude of increase, double from the previous assessment. So, and especially for East Asia, we have been experiencing this upward trend, and the upward trend just continue from previous years. And what is very important is that these actions or behavior increases life evaluations of not only the givers, but also the receivers. And not only the givers and the receivers, but also the observers, people who observe, the people who, people who give money to charity, people who help strangers, and people who do volunteer work, they experience increase in life evaluations. And people who receive the money, the strangers who receive the kindness act, and whoever benefited from the volunteer work also experience an increase, and others who observe them. So, so this is benefiting people all around. Okay. All right. So the other social aspect that has been highlighted in the report is about social trust. And one of the ways to measure trust is the Gallup Whirlpool respondents on lost wallet being returned. So the question is whether if the lost wallet is likely to be returned. And the more, if a country scores high on the perceptions of the wallet being returned, then life evaluation also increases. So what it means is that the more you feel that you can trust people around you, that if you lost your wallet, it will most likely be returned, then the more likely you are to evaluate your life as being satisfying. And social trust not only is important for life evaluation, it is also important for during, especially related to pandemic. So the quality of the social context can affect the fighting of COVID-19. So for example, countries with high social capital have where people rate social trust as high, trust of the people around them and trust of the government. They also tend to fare better in terms of their fight for COVID-19. So the infection rate and the death rates are significantly lower for these countries. Okay, all right. Okay, so these are the 4 things that I want to highlight as the outcome of the the 4 things I want to highlight from the report. The importance of social support and generosity, the importance of benevolence, behavior, and also trust. Yeah. And okay, so I will stop here and I will continue after this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Professor Intan, okay, for sharing with us about the important factors for our happiness. All right, so just now, both Professor Hall and Professor Intan mentioned about the 6 key variables that the report used to indicate our happiness. So out of curiosity, I go and retrieve the information from the past 4 years, including this year. Okay. So this table summarizes the result for this year, 2022, and the past 4 years until 2018. Right. Of course, the first, the second, and the third columns, I think that one will be of interest to most of us. But I like what Professor Intan mentions before, is like this result is not for competition. It's not for competitions. Okay, so it's more like a self-evaluations to give us some ideas how good we are doing. Okay, so therefore I would suggest each of us to take the score and the ranking in a appropriate perspective. All right. So what I would like to share with you, or maybe what we can learn from this summary is I think quite consistent and in line with what Professor Intan mentioned just now. Okay, you can see that across the 6 key variables, seems like the GDP, the income, plays the most important role. Right? And seems like the result is quite consistent. We are not surprised. Okay, for this year report 2022. Okay, the role of the income becomes more important. I believe due to the pandemic. All right, so people were suffering, okay, economically. Right. Then the next important factors will be the social support, like what Professor Intan mentioned just now. Okay, whether or not we can get help from friends or families when we in trouble. Okay. So basically, okay, we can conclude that the trend is quite consistent, okay, across the past 5 years. All right. So next, I would like to share with you, okay, some insight that I gained from this report. So allow me to share my screen. Okay, so once again, good afternoon, everyone. This is Chee Seng here. Okay, so I would like to share with you the insight that I gained from this report. Okay, yeah, right. So when I read the World Happiness Report, okay, the last chapter, which is the chapter 6, caught my eyeball. Okay, by the way, okay, for those who have yet to take a look at the report, okay, feel free to download it. You can refer to our chat box. If you are joining us via the Facebook, okay, you can also refer to the comment below. We already insert the link for you to download a copy of the report. Okay, so for this year, okay, this report consists of 6 chapters. So when I read the titles of the last chapter, immediately I feel very exciting. Okay, why am I say so? Okay, now if you still remember the Excel file I shared you about 1 minute before, okay, previously, okay, we only used the 6 key variables. Okay, we only examined the 6 key variables. Okay, but starting from this year, okay, they also provide the very first, okay, result for balance and harmony. Now, study on happiness has been focusing on high arousal positive emotions. Okay, so high arousal positive emotions, they are characterized by feelings of energy for pleasurable states. So like, for example, enjoyment, or we feel excited. Right? So in the past, okay, we focus quite a lot on this kind of the positive emotions. Now, one of the 3 major promising developments in this 2022 report is the inclusions of positive emotion with low arousal, such as balance or harmony, calmness, and peace. Okay, so this is the first time, okay, the World Happiness Report that include or that also take into considerations of low arousal positive emotions. Now, this expansion suggests that happiness is not just feeling good, yeah, okay, but the conditions of psychological balance and harmony. Right. Of course, okay, you may have a question, is like, what is balance and what is harmony? Are they the same? Okay, so in the report, the authors, okay, they clearly explain, okay, the meaning of balance and harmony. And for your information, there are some slightly difference between balance and harmony. Okay, so for those who are interested, okay, I strongly recommend you read this chapter, okay, to have a better ideas. All right. Now, inclusions of this low arousal positive emotion is also consistent, okay, with the growing trend in happiness research. Okay, because as I mentioned just now, in the past we focus on positive emotions, to what extent we experience the positive emotion. But recently, I think in the past 2 years, okay, there are some studies that found that like fear of happiness or fragility of happiness actually are harmful to our well-being. So in other words, okay, it is not a good idea. Okay, in fact, it is harmful if we just pursue, okay, just aim for the high arousal positive emotion like enjoyment or happiness. Okay. So therefore, it is time for us, okay, to switch our gear a little bit to the low arousal positive emotion. Okay, so how did they measure the low arousal positive emotions? Now, in total, they have 5 questions, okay, to measure balance, peace, calmness, okay, preference for calmness, and last but not least is self-other prioritizations. Okay, so for example, okay, they asked the respondent, okay, in general, do you feel the various aspects of your life in balance or not? Okay, so this is the question that they use to measure the level of balance. Okay, so basically you can see that each of the 5 dimensions, it was measured by 1 question only. Okay, of course, this is due to the limited time they have and also the budget. Okay, so they can only use 1 item to measure it. All right, so now you have some ideas about how they measure the low arousal positive emotions. I believe there's a question mark on your mind now. Hey, does balance and harmony matter? What's the result? Okay, so let us take a look at the finding. So first of all, okay, the researcher tried to check the relationship between life evaluation. So if you still remember Prof. Hall presentation just now, okay, the life evaluation is the key score, okay, in this report. Okay, so this correlation means that they would like to know, hey, among the 3 new included variables, which are balance, calmness, and peace, okay, whether all of them or only some of them will have a relationship with life satisfaction. Or more importantly, which one is more important? Okay. Now, I would like to draw your attention to the first row. All right. So the first row shows the relationship, okay, of the 3 newly added variables with life evaluation. Okay. So as you can see here, I highlighted the top 2, okay, balance and peace. Both balance and peace, okay, they have a stronger relationship with life satisfaction than calmness. Okay, but it does not mean that calmness is not important. Okay, calmness still play a role. Just in comparison, the respondent indicate that balance and peace, okay, are more important than the calmness. All right. So until now, okay, we have some fundamental results or finding to support that balance, calmness, and peace. Okay, these kind of the low arousal positive emotions, they are important to our life satisfaction. Okay. So just now in Prof. Hall's and Prof. Intan presentation, we learned that the report usually based on 6 key variables. Okay, I also show you the past 5 years result, okay, in the Excel file. Right. And now, okay, just now I introduced you that this year, okay, the report also include additional 5 variables, okay, that measure the low arousal positive emotions. Right. So I believe, okay, you'll be curious like me, okay, hey, when we combine the 6 key variables and the low arousal positive emotion, okay, what information can we get? Okay, do the 5 low arousal positive emotion play a more important role than the 6 key variables? Okay, so the report, okay, give us some idea. Right, now for information, okay, I only retrieve part of the table, yeah, okay, because the complete table also includes, okay, the effect of some demographic, okay, like the age or the education level. So for that part, okay, I did not include that. So for details, kindly refer to the report. Right. So this table, okay, give us some ideas about the result when we include the 5 low arousals, positive emotion, as well as the 6 key variables. Now, you will see that there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, okay, 5. Okay, the first 5 are the low arousal, positive emotion. Right. Okay, to ease your understanding, okay, I help you to emphasize, okay, to identify the result. Okay, so first of all, we can see that for the balance and peace, okay, both of them play an important role. Okay, they play a positive role. So that means when the respondent reported a higher level of balance, okay, they also reported a higher level of life satisfaction. Okay, same goes to the peace. Okay, so when the individual experience a high level of peace, okay, they also tend to experience a high level of satisfaction. So until now, okay, we have a clearer picture. After including the 6 key variables, okay, balance and peace, okay, still continue to play an important role. Right. So this indicates that low arousal positive emotion are important. Right. Now, even so, it's okay, when we look at the all the variables here, okay, we found that the strongest one is count on friends, or the social support that explained by Professor Intan just now. Okay. So taken together, okay, social support is still the most important factor to us, okay, or for our happiness. However, we should not overlook that balance and peace, okay, they are the second and the third important factors. Right, so this gives us a better idea. Okay, so based on this result, what can we conclude? Right. So the report indicates that both balance and peace contribute strongly to a satisfying life in all regions of the world. Now, for your information, the table that I showed you in the previous slide, that one is the result for the whole world. Okay, in the report, the authors also split the results in terms of the regions. For example, they have the Western countries, East Asia, and the rest of the regions. So the results or the pattern of the results, okay, are observed in all the regions. Okay, so I believe the result gives us a very strong confidence, okay, to believe that balance and peace, okay, are an important factor to our happiness. Okay, so that's all that I would like to share with you. Okay, so if you would like to know more, okay, I strongly recommend you to read this chapter. Okay, chapter 6. Okay, so now we have about 15 minutes. I think we are good to move to the Q&A sections. All right. So I would like to invite Wen Bing to help us, okay, to allow our participants to turn on your camera, unmute your mic, okay, to ask questions if you have any. And for those who are joining us via Facebook, okay, feel free to post your questions in the comments. Our technicians, okay, Mr. Wang Wenbing will help us, okay, to transfer the question here. So while we are waiting for the suggestions or questions from the floor, now I would like to invite Professor Hall and Professor Intan now to give us some suggestions. What should we do, or in particular, what can we do, okay, to further enhance happiness in Malaysia? May I invite Professor Hall first?
Hi, let me just turn my video on.
Yes, we can see you now, Professor Hall.
Hi, that's a very good question, and I'm not sure I have a huge amount more to add in addition to the presentations. But I mean, I guess just to draw on some of those key predictors from the report that contributed most, generally speaking, to people's happiness, things like, you know, social support. We've all just been in a pandemic situation for 2 years. We've been locked down, we've been at home. And I think as a result of that experience, we've all learned the value of friends and family who've really supported one another through this difficult time. And positive psychology for a long time has recognized the importance of positive relationships in maintaining a strong sense of well-being. And we're seeing that also through the happiness report. So, you know, I think cherish relationships with friends and family, and enjoy those good times together.
Right, right. Okay. One follow-up question, Professor Hall. Okay, so do you see any difference between now the UK and Malaysia? Yeah, so I guess you'll be the best candidate to answer this question.
Well, I can maybe just reflect on my own personal experiences. So, you know, in the UK, families for several generations now have become quite dispersed geographically. When children kind of move away to university or jobs, they often move quite far from family. And I'm a good example. You know, my family's still back in the UK and I'm halfway around the world. I see in Malaysia, you know, just my perception is that a lot more families have the good fortune of being closer together. Some multi-generational families live together, which is not so much the same is true in the UK. So I think there's much more opportunity in Malaysia because of that closeness of larger family units to draw on that social support. So that would be my personal reflection comparing Malaysia to developed countries in Europe.
Thank you, Professor Hall. We are, as a Malaysia, I think we are glad to have this privilege, okay, to stay close with our family members. Yeah, and I think Professor Intan will give us a further insights about what we can do, okay, to promote happiness. Okay, so Professor Intan, please.
Okay, actually, before I go into that, I just want to touch a little bit about the thing that you discussed earlier about balance and harmony. I just want to touch, actually, I'm not going to answer your questions on my strategies, but I just want to talk a little bit about that chapter 6, because like you, I'm also fascinated by chapter 6. And I'm especially interested when the discussion started with whether happiness is something that is applicable all over the world, because one of the criticisms or concerns of happiness construct right now is whether it is only applicable to weird countries, which is Western, industrialized, educated. Let me see if I can remember R, and developed. I can remember R, but anyway, but whether or not they are applicable to all countries, and that's how they talk about coming up with a more comprehensive concepts of happiness, and that's where the balance and harmony come in. And but what is interesting, correct me if I'm wrong, Chee Seng, whether if I miss any data, but what I saw, I think mentioned in the report, is about how balance and this low arousal, so-called low arousal positive emotions, although they are more important in a way that they are more strongly related to life evaluation, but they are lower in East Asia. So this despite so this is, I think, an interesting finding, that I just want to, I don't know, just talk about it. Okay, now back to the strategies that like Prof Hall, I think the key is in the relationship, as what it has been highlighted in the report. The key is in the relationship. So I think, but we should go not just being, because the report talk about the importance of volunteering, the importance of donation, of donating, of helping strangers. But we but we can do much more than that. We can be helpful to strangers. We can be more compassionate. We can exercise more empathy. We can try to stay connected with each other, reaching out to those who ask for us, and reaching out for those who are not, who don't ask but still need us nevertheless. So I think the importance of connecting, the importance of reaching out to and to continue to be kind, and to continue to help each other. I think this will be the key, and yeah, so the key to happiness, the key to help us face or recover from the pandemic together. Yeah, so hopefully Malaysia will go, although yeah, this is not a competition, but we do like to learn from the countries who are doing much better than us. We do want to learn the strategies that are being employed in happier countries, and we do want to improve in terms of the score from time to time, because that is the value. And the good news is that we are going up from last year from 80 in last year to 70 this year, and the average score is also going, I think, from 5.1 to 5.7. Is it?
This is 5.711.
Yeah. Okay. So we do. So that's a good thing. Yeah. So I think as long as people remember to prioritize on well-being, and to continue to think of this as an important aspect of their life, and not just take it for granted. Because the other thing is, I think with pandemic, we talk more about mental health. We talk more about things like anxiety and depression and stress, and how to combat that. But for me, this is already, we should take a more preventive measure. So rather than addressing the mental health problems once it's already occurred, we should start by preventing that. And I think, Chee Seng, you mentioned about how the importance of balance and the importance of both. I think also Prof mentioned about the importance of both positive and negative emotions together. But I would like to slightly disagree with both of you. I think we should prioritize on positive emotions. And I don't think positive emotions will have, because I don't think we will reach to a point where we are going to be pursuing happiness too much, because if anything, we are not pursuing enough. So I don't think we are in any danger of pursuing too much, because we are on the side of not pursuing enough. Of course, this is my opinion. So I think we are not. So I think by investing on creating more positive emotions, creating more joy, creating more happiness or cheerfulness or calmness, it's not going to. They're going to be. They're going to help us become stronger, and if you experience a lot of positive emotions when you are facing challenges, you are going to be stronger because of this experience, because the positive emotions is like nourishment, and you already well nourished. So when you are facing some infection, so you're going to fare better than if you are not experiencing positive emotion enough. If you're not taking vitamins enough. So when it comes to challenges, then you will be, you're not going to be, if you're strong, if you're happy and strong, you're not going to be worse off when challenges actually happen. You will see this. You will see that the strongest children or the strongest people are the happiest people. That's what I think. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Professor Intan. Okay, so just now when we talk about the score of Malaysia, so I think as a Malaysian, we should be proud of ourselves, okay, because we know that during the pandemic, life is not easy, okay, but we are glad to see that Malaysia's happiness improve. And I guess one of the reasons, based on the data, okay, because social support seems are a very important factors, and I believe we have some movement or activities that initiated by the people. So I think this is a very good actions that taken by people. So as a Malaysian, I feel proud, okay, of all of us. So I think we should continue this kind of the good act. And then on the other hand, is like just now Prof. Intan mentioned that we should continue to pursue positive emotions. Yeah, I totally agree. Okay, so don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you should stop pursuing positive emotions. Just we have to pay more attention to the low arousal, because we don't want the young generations. Okay, when we talk about positive emotion, they will only have this perspective. Is like positive emotion means that I feel happy. Okay, I feel excited. Okay, but please also take care of the balancing, the harmony. Okay, so that means try to balance it. Okay, not too much. Okay, not too little. Okay, so I think this is the important thing. Okay, that we should start redefining, because in the past when we used to measure the subjective well-being, we focus on we emphasize higher positive emotion, but that positive emotion is mainly on the high arousal. Okay, so now I think it's it's a good timing for us start promoting the low arousal positive emotions. Okay, that means it's like we may have to give some ideas to the young generations how to maintain the balancing, how to have a high level of harmony, instead of not just pursuing some high arousal positive emotions. So I would say this is a very important and promising area for the future, not only for research, but also for the governments, for some NGO. It's time for us to think about it. It's like, what can we do? What are the interventions, or what are the training that we can provide to help the people, okay, to start recognizing the importance of the low arousal positive emotions. Yeah, so I think this is the thing that Malaysia's, okay, not only the government, but also people's, okay, we can start thinking about it. What can we do? And of course, don't forget, it's like social support is still the most important factors. All right, so like Prof. Intan mentioned just now, it's like, yeah, try to reach out, try to offer help. And I would also like to take this opportunity to encourage that you don't have to carry all the, all the issues on your shoulders. Okay, so it is perfectly fine, perfectly okay to be not okay. So go and seek for help. Yeah, so I guess that's the thing that I would like to recommend. Yeah, so given that we still have one more time, okay, may I check? Let me check with Prof. Hall and Prof. Intan. Do you have any final message for our audience?
I guess just to pick up on the value of giving. So last week at Heriot Watt, we also were celebrating International Day of Happiness, and one of our invited speakers was Uncle Kentang, who you might know is a great humanitarian and does very great charitable works. And he received such positive messages from our students and audience. And I took great heart in that, in kind of realizing that people of all ages in Malaysia are very generous in spirit and are very keen to support those who are less well off and underprivileged, and support those who support others as well.
Thank you, Prof. Hall. What about you, Prof. Intan?
Yeah, I love Uncle Kentang. I think he's wonderful, and I think we should have. I'm so proud that we have people like him, and we should have more people like him in Malaysia. And we are on our way to be happier, calmer, and in balance. Yeah, that's all. Thank you. Okay,
thank you, Dr. Intan. Thank you, Professor Hall. All right, seems like it's almost 4 o'clock, so I will hand over it to you, Brittany.
Thank you, Doctor. So yeah, I think that's the end of our event. Once again, I would like to thank all the panelists here for their bright insights, and all the participants from the Zoom and also the Facebook for taking your time off and joining us today. We really hope that this event has given you take-home messages to boost your happiness. Again, on behalf of the Divisions of Positive Psychology and the School of Social Science, we apologize for any shortcomings, and thank you so much. We hope you have a blessed day ahead. Feel free to drop us a private message via our Facebook account. So bye-bye now, everyone.
Bye-bye. Also, we are grateful for Mr. Wong's help, okay, for organizing this event. All right, thank you so much.
Thank you,
everyone.